Vivid verses.
The November rain had turned Portland's streets into mirrors, reflecting the amber glow of streetlights as Owen Castellan guided his Tesla through the Pearl District. Beside him, Vanessa scrolled through her phone, occasionally reading aloud from a group chat about Thanksgiving plans. Her laughter filled the car, bright, uninhibited, the kind that had first caught his attention 2 years ago at a mutual friend's housewarming party. "Amy wants to do a Friendsgiving potluck," Vanessa said, glancing up. "Are you in?" "She's thinking the Saturday before the actual holiday." "Works for me," Owen replied, changing lanes smoothly. "What should we bring?" "I was thinking my grandmother's sweet potato casserole. The one with the pecan streusel. The one that caused 3 people to ask for the recipe last year." Vanessa grinned. "That's the one." Owen smiled, turning onto their street. Moments like these felt effortless, natural. Vanessa worked as a marketing director for a sustainable fashion brand called Verde Collective, and her passion for ethical consumption had influenced his own habits. His condo now housed reusable everything, a compost bin, and a collection of houseplants she'd insisted would improve his feng shui. As a software architect for a fintech company, his world had been one of clean code and logical systems. Vanessa had introduced color, spontaneity, the pleasant chaos of farmers markets and last-minute road trips to the coast. They'd fallen into a comfortable rhythm. Friday nights meant trying new restaurants. Portland's food scene provided endless options. Weekends involved hiking Forest Park or browsing Powell's City of Books, where Vanessa would lose herself in the memoir section while Owen gravitated toward philosophy and technology. They'd even adopted a cat together, a gray tabby named Pepper who currently ruled Owen's condo with iron paw authority. "Your place or mine tonight?" Vanessa asked as Owen pulled into his building's parking garage. "Mine. Pepper gets anxious when I'm gone too long." "You mean Pepper trains you with anxiety," Vanessa corrected, unbuckling her seatbelt. "That cat has you completely figured out." Owen couldn't argue. Upstairs, Pepper greeted them with accusatory meows, circling their ankles until Vanessa scooped him up, cooing apologies. While she settled on the couch with the cat, Owen moved to the kitchen, pulling out ingredients for a late dinner. This was their pattern, easy, domestic, the kind of relationship that felt like coming home. "I got an email from the conference committee," Owen called out, slicing vegetables for stir-fry. "They want me to expand my talk from 20 minutes to 45. "That's fantastic." Vanessa appeared in the kitchen doorway, Pepper draped over her shoulder. "See? I told you your blockchain security framework would get attention. It means rewriting half the presentation. You love rewriting. You rewrote our dinner reservation request 3 times last week." Owen conceded the point with a slight smile. Precision mattered to him, in code and in life. It was why he'd excelled at his job, why colleagues sought his review on complex architectural decisions. His mind naturally parsed patterns, identified inefficiencies, anticipated failure points before they manifested. The following weeks carried them through Thanksgiving. Amy's potluck was indeed a success, Vanessa's casserole disappearing within the first hour, and into December. Portland transformed into a rain-soaked wonderland of holiday lights, and Vanessa talked Owen into attending the Winter Wonderland Market downtown, despite his general aversion to crowds. "You're doing that thing again," Vanessa said, linking her arm through his as they wandered between stalls selling handcrafted jewelry and artisanal hot chocolate. "What thing?" "That calculation thing. I can practically see you running crowd-flow algorithms in your head." Owen relaxed his shoulders consciously. "Occupational hazard. I like that about you," she said, squeezing his arm. "You're always thinking, but sometimes you can just be, you know?" He didn't know, intellectually. Execution remained challenging. But with Vanessa, he'd learned to quiet the constant analysis somewhat, to exist in moments without immediately optimizing them. They bought overpriced but delicious apple cider donuts, wandered through stalls displaying blown glass ornaments and hand-knitted scarves. Vanessa bought a wreath for her apartment, and Owen found himself purchasing a set of ceramic mugs shaped like mushrooms, despite having no practical need for them. Character building, Vanessa declared when he questioned the purchase. Your kitchen is too sensible. It needs whimsy. The first crack appeared on a Tuesday evening in mid-December. They'd planned dinner at Owen's place. Nothing elaborate, just pasta and salad. Vanessa arrived 20 minutes late, which wasn't unusual. Her work often ran long. But when she came through the door, her energy felt different. Scattered. She apologized for the delay, kicked off her shoes, and immediately began scrolling through her phone while Owen finished cooking. "Everything okay?" he asked, draining pasta. "Fine. Just work stuff." Owen plated their food, brought it to the dining table. Vanessa sat down, but continued checking her phone intermittently. Not constantly, just enough to create small interruptions in their conversation. When Owen mentioned the upcoming conference, she nodded without really responding. When he asked about her day, her answer was vague, distracted. Stress, Owen thought. Year-end deadlines. He let it go, but the pattern repeated. Thursday night, when they met for dinner at a Vietnamese restaurant called Saigon Moon, Vanessa seemed present only in body. Her phone sat face up on the table, lighting up periodically. She'd glance at it, sometimes picking it up to type quick responses. "Want to talk about whatever's going on?" Owen asked after the third interruption. "Nothing's going on. Why do you always assume something's wrong?" The defensiveness surprised him. "I don't always assume anything. You seem preoccupied. I'm allowed to have things on my mind, Owen." "Of course. I'm just asking if you want to share." Vanessa's expression softened. "Sorry. You're right. It's just been a chaotic week. Launch prep for the spring line." The explanation made sense. Owen accepted it, shifted the conversation to safer topics. But a small notation appeared in the back of his mind, a mental bookmark he couldn't quite ignore. The second crack came the following week. They made plans to see a movie, a documentary about climate activists that Vanessa had been eager to watch. Owen arrived at her apartment to pick her up at the agreed time of 6:30. The showtime was at 7:15, and the theater was a 20-minute drive. Vanessa wasn't ready. She was still in work clothes, makeup half done. "I'm so sorry," she said, rushing to finish getting ready. "Tom got away from me." They'd missed the previews, but could make the opening if they left immediately. Except Vanessa couldn't find her wallet. Then her keys. Then she needed to feed her goldfish, which apparently couldn't wait until they returned. By the time they got to Owen's car, it was 6:55. "We're not going to make it," Owen said calmly, buckling his seatbelt. "We might if you drive fast." Owen pulled out of the parking spot at his normal, lawful speed. "There's a 7:45 showing. We could grab dinner first, catch that one. I really wanted to see the 7:15. Then we needed to leave at 6:30, as planned." Vanessa went quiet, staring out the window. Owen could feel tension building in the car, pressure against his eardrums like an approaching storm. He said nothing, simply drove toward the theater district. "You're mad," Vanessa said finally. "I'm not mad. You have that voice. The controlled one. This is just my voice, Vanessa. I'm not upset. I'm stating facts. We planned to leave at 6:30 to make a 7:15 show. We left at 6:55. The math doesn't work. So now you're saying I made us late." Owen breathed slowly through his nose. "You literally did make us late. That's not an accusation. It's a chronological observation. See, you are mad. I'm really not. I'm suggesting we adjust our plan to accommodate reality." They caught the 7:45 showing. The documentary was excellent. Vanessa's hand found his in the darkened theater, and afterward, over late Thai food, They discussed the film's arguments about corporate responsibility and individual action. The earlier tension dissolved, and Owen filed it away as a minor blip, the kind of small friction any couple experiences. But his mind had logged it nonetheless. 2 data points didn't make a pattern, but they could indicate where to watch for one. Christmas approached. They discussed plans weeks earlier, splitting time between their families. Owen would join Vanessa at her parents' place in Seattle for Christmas Eve. Then they'd drive to his family in Bend for Christmas Day. Simple, equitable. 3 days before Christmas Eve, Vanessa called him at work. "So, slight change of plans," she said, her voice carrying that particular brightness that Owen had started to recognize as a warning signal. "My mom really wants us to stay through Christmas Day. She's doing this whole big brunch thing, and apparently she's been planning it for weeks." Owen leaned back in his office chair, looking out at the rainy Portland skyline. "We agreed on Christmas Eve in Seattle, Christmas Day in Bend." "I know, but this brunch is really important to her. And Christmas with my family is important to me. Can't you just see them the day after? It's not like Christmas is only one specific day." Owen felt that familiar tightening in his chest, the sensation of being maneuvered into a corner. By that logic, your mom's brunch could happen the day after Christmas too. "Owen, come on. Don't make this difficult. Don't make this difficult." The phrase landed like a weight. He was making it difficult by holding to their original agreement, by wanting equal consideration for his family. "Here's what I'm hearing," Owen said, keeping his voice level. "Your mom made plans without consulting us, and you'd like me to change our mutually agreed arrangement to accommodate those plans. Is that accurate? When you say it like that, it sounds true." Vanessa sighed, a long-suffering sound. "Fine. We'll stick to the original plan. I'll just tell my mom we can't make her brunch." "Vanessa." "No, it's fine. Really. I'll handle it." She ended the call shortly after. Owen sat in his office, staring at his dual monitors without seeing them. Something felt wrong, misaligned. He'd simply held to their agreement, yet somehow he'd been positioned as the unreasonable party. The guilt attempting to take root in his chest felt unearned, manufactured. "Observe," he told himself. "Don't react. Just observe." They went to Seattle for Christmas Eve. Vanessa's family was warm, welcoming. Her mother, Patricia, had prepared an elaborate dinner, and her father, Robert, engaged Owen in lengthy discussions about the tech industry. Everything seemed fine until late evening, when Owen overheard Vanessa talking to her mother in the kitchen. But Owen insisted on leaving tomorrow, Vanessa was saying, her voice carrying a note of resignation. Owen, passing by on his way to the bathroom, paused. "Well, it's important to spend time with both families," Patricia replied diplomatically. "I know. I just wish he could be more flexible sometimes." Owen continued to the bathroom, processing. He'd been framed as inflexible for adhering to their joint decision. The narrative had shifted, and he hadn't even been present for the shift. The drive to Bend the next morning was quiet. Vanessa dozed in the passenger seat, while Owen navigated through light snow flurries. His family's greeting was enthusiastic. His sister, Maya, immediately pulling Vanessa into a hug, his parents fussing over whether they'd eaten breakfast, whether the drive had been difficult. Vanessa was charming, engaging, the version of herself that had captivated Owen initially. She laughed at his father's terrible jokes, helped his mother in the kitchen, played cards with Maya with genuine enjoyment. Owen watched her, trying to reconcile this warmth with the growing sense of dissonance he'd been experiencing. "Maybe you're overthinking," he told himself. "Maybe it's just stress, timing, the usual relationship friction." But his mind kept working, cataloging, comparing, running silent diagnostics on interactions and outcomes. January brought Portland's typical gray deluge and a return to routine. Owen threw himself into preparation for the February conference. Vanessa's spring line launch consumed her attention. They saw each other less frequently, which felt simultaneously concerning and relieving, a contradiction Owen didn't particularly enjoy acknowledging. The breaking point came on a Thursday in late January. Owen had noticed something over the past few weeks: financial discrepancies. Small things at first. Vanessa mentioning she was short on cash, asking if Owen could cover dinner, then asking to borrow $40 for a yoga class she wanted to try, then mentioning her credit card payment was higher than expected and could Owen spot her $100 until her next paycheck. Owen had said yes each time. They were partners. Partners helped each other. But his mind, always calculating, had been keeping a running total: $340 over 3 weeks. More concerning than the money was the pattern. Vanessa made a good salary, better than Owen's actually. She lived modestly, no expensive habits he knew of. Where was the money going? Thursday evening, they were at Vanessa's apartment. She was cooking vegetable curry, Owen's favorite. He was setting the table when he noticed her phone light up on the counter. The preview showed a Venmo notification: payment to Ryan M., $200. Owen said nothing. He finished setting the table, then casually asked, "How's the budgeting going? Any better this month?" "Not really," Vanessa said, stirring the curry. "I don't know where it all goes." "Have you tried actually tracking it?" "There are apps." I know. I'm just not as organized about that stuff as you are." Owen watched her, his mind assembling pieces. The secret of phone behavior. The request for money while sending large payments to someone named Ryan. The increasing vagueness about her schedule. That night, after dinner, as they sat on her couch with tea, Owen made a decision. "I need to ask you something, and I need you to be honest with me." Vanessa looked up, something flickering across her face too quickly to read. "Okay. Who's Ryan?" The pause was infinitesimal, but Owen caught it. "Ryan? Which Ryan? You tell me." "Owen, I know lots of people. I don't know which specific Ryan you're." "The Ryan you sent $200 to today." Vanessa's expression shifted through several configurations: surprise, annoyance, something that might have been calculation. "Were you looking at my phone?" It lit up on the counter. "I saw the notification." "So you were snooping." "I was standing 3 feet from your phone when it received a notification." "That's not snooping, Vanessa. That's existing in the same physical space." She stood abruptly, moving to the kitchen. "I don't appreciate being interrogated." Owen remained seated, forcing himself to stay calm, centered. "I'm not interrogating you. I'm asking a straightforward question. You've borrowed money from me 3 times in as many weeks while simultaneously sending large payments to someone else. I'd like to understand what's happening. Ryan is just a friend. I owed him money. For what? Does it matter? When you're asking me to subsidize your expenses while paying off debts you haven't mentioned. Yes, it matters." Vanessa's hands gripped the counter edge. "You're being controlling." There it is, Owen thought. The deflection, the reframing. He was controlling for asking about financial discrepancies that directly affected him. "I'm being rational," Owen said quietly. "If you needed to pay Ryan back, that's fine. But asking me for money without mentioning you had other financial obligations is dishonest. I can't believe you're making such a big deal about this." "Vanessa, I'm not making a big deal. I'm asking for clarity in a relationship where we've been sharing financial responsibilities." She turned to face him fully, and Owen saw tears forming in her eyes. "You don't trust me." "This isn't about trust. It is about trust." Her voice broke. "You're basically accusing me of, I don't even know what. Being irresponsible? Lying to you. I'm not accusing you of anything. I'm asking questions." But Vanessa was crying now, actual tears streaming down her face. "I can't do this. I can't be in a relationship where I'm constantly being questioned and doubted." Owen watched her cry, feeling the familiar pull to comfort, to backtrack, to soothe. And then, With perfect clarity, he recognized the mechanism at work. Every time he raised a concern, Vanessa became distraught. Her distress became the priority, derailing the original issue. He'd seen it with the movie timing, with Christmas plans, now with this. His concerns never got addressed because her emotions always dominated the space. She wasn't crying because she was hurt. She was crying because it worked. The realization settled over him like snow, cold and clarifying. "Vanessa," he said, his voice quiet but firm. "I need you to take a breath and actually hear what I'm saying." She looked at him through tears, mascara starting to run. "I've noticed a pattern," Owen continued. "Whenever I try to discuss something that bothers me, your lateness, changes to our plans, money, anything, you become so upset that the conversation shifts. Instead of addressing my concern, I end up comforting you. And the original issue never gets resolved. I'm not doing that on purpose. I didn't say it was on purpose. I'm saying it's what happens. Consistently. So now my feelings aren't valid? I'm just manipulating you. Your feelings are valid. And you're also using distress as a defensive weapon." Vanessa's tears stopped abruptly, as if a switch had flipped. "Excuse me. You heard me." Owen stood, collecting his jacket from the back of the couch. "I've been patient. I've been understanding. I've accommodated and adjusted and convinced myself that I was being supportive. But what I've actually been doing is allowing myself to be managed. Owen, you're being ridiculous. Ryan isn't just a friend you owed money to, is he?" The silence that followed was answer enough. "I don't know if he's an ex, or a current something, or just someone you have a complicated financial entanglement with," Owen continued. "And honestly, the specific details matter less than the fact that you couldn't be straight with me about it. It's not what you think. Then what is it, Vanessa? Right now. Clear answer. Who is Ryan, and why are you sending him money while borrowing from me?" She opened her mouth, closed it, opened it again. "It's complicated. That's not an answer. We used to date. And he helped me out when I was in a bad spot last year, financially, and I've been paying him back. Why not just tell me that? Because I knew you'd make it into a thing. The thing I'm making it into is dishonesty. If you told me up front, hey, I'm paying back an ex for money he lent me, so I'm tight on cash, that would have been fine. But instead, you borrowed money from me under vague pretenses while hiding where your money was actually going." Vanessa's tears returned, but this time Owen could see them for what they were, a strategy. "You're being so cold about this, so analytical. This is why people say you're emotionally distant. And there's the personal attack," Owen noted. "When logic fails, attack character. I won't continue a relationship where I can't raise issues without being manipulated," Owen said, pulling on his jacket. "I've realized that's what's happening here, and I'm done participating in it. So that's it? You're just leaving? I'm leaving this conversation before it goes further in circles. We can talk when you're ready to actually talk, not perform." "I'm not performing." But Owen was already at the door. "Call me when you're willing to have an honest conversation. Or don't. Your choice." He left, driving through Portland's rain-slick streets with unusual clarity. His chest felt tight, but not with guilt. With relief. Vanessa called 17 times that night. Owen didn't answer. She texted, "We need to talk. Please don't do this. I can explain everything. You're being unfair. I love you." Owen read each message, feeling nothing but a distant recognition of technique. Each text was calibrated to provoke response. Urgency, guilt, promise, accusation, emotion. He replied once, "I meant what I said. When you're ready for actual honesty, I'm willing to listen. Until then, I need space." The next morning, Owen woke to find a text from an unknown number. "This is Ryan. Vanessa's really upset. Whatever happened between you two, you should know she cares about you a lot. Don't throw away something good over a misunderstanding." Owen stared at the message, genuinely impressed by the audacity. Vanessa had actually recruited the secret ex-boyfriend to plead her case. He blocked the number without responding. Work provided welcome distraction. Owen buried himself in conference preparation, refining his presentation on blockchain security frameworks until it sang. His colleague, Priya, noticed his increased intensity. "You okay?" she asked, stopping by his desk with coffee. "You've been here until 8 every night this week." "Relationship stuff?" Owen said. "Nothing catastrophic. Want to talk about it?" "Not particularly. But thank you." Priya nodded, respecting the boundary. "Well, if you change your mind, I'm around. And your presentation is going to kill. You know that, right?" Owen managed a smile. "I appreciate the confidence." Maya called that weekend. Somehow she'd already heard. Vanessa had apparently contacted her, asking if she could help Owen understand. "She seems really upset," Maya said carefully. "I'm sure she does. Want to tell me what actually happened?" Owen outlined the situation, the pattern of emotional escalation, the financial dishonesty, the recruited ex-boyfriend. Maya was quiet for a moment. "Wow. Yeah. You doing okay?" "Surprisingly, yes. It's like, when you're running code and something's off, but you can't quite identify the bug, and then you finally see it, and everything makes sense." "You did not just compare your relationship to debugging code." "I absolutely did." Maya laughed. "You're going to be fine, Owen. You know that, right?" "I do." And he did. The dissonance he'd been experiencing for months had resolved into clarity. Whatever he'd had with Vanessa, it hadn't been partnership. It had been performance, with Owen cast as the supporting actor in her drama. Vanessa tried 3 more times to initiate contact over the following weeks. Each attempt followed a predictable pattern: initial sweetness, then urgency, then accusation, then guilt. Owen responded to none of them. He'd stated his terms clearly. The ball was in her court, and she kept bouncing it off the walls instead of returning it properly. The conference in February was a triumph. Owen's expanded presentation drew a standing room-only crowd, and the post-talk discussion ran 40 minutes over schedule. Several venture capitalists requested follow-up meetings. His company's CTO personally congratulated him. Standing in the hotel bar afterward, Priya raised her glass. "To our resident genius and his revolutionary approach to cryptographic verification." Owen clinked his glass against hers. "I just fixed some inefficiencies." "You did more than that, and you know it." Maybe he did. Maybe he learned that fixing inefficiencies applied beyond code, that recognizing dysfunctional patterns and having the discipline to step away was its own kind of architecture. Spring arrived early in Portland, cherry blossoms erupting along the waterfront in late March. Owen took Pepper to the vet for a checkup, continued his hiking routine in Forest Park, accepted his company's offer to lead a new security initiative. Life proceeded, different but not diminished. He ran into Vanessa once, accidentally, at Powell's Books in April. She looked good, hair shorter, styled differently. They made eye contact across the memoir section. Owen nodded politely. Vanessa approached. "Hi," she said. "Hi. How have you been?" "Good." "You?" "Good. She paused. "I wanted to apologize for how things ended." Owen waited. "You were right. About the pattern thing. I talked to someone, a therapist, and she helped me see that I do that. The getting upset thing, when I'm uncomfortable. I'm glad you're working on it." Owen said sincerely. "I wondered if maybe we could get coffee sometime. Talk properly." Owen looked at her, this woman he'd shared 2 years with, and felt only polite distance. "I don't think that would be productive, Vanessa. But I genuinely hope therapy helps. You deserve to figure that out." Her expression crumpled slightly, then recovered. "Right. Okay. Well, it was good to see you." "You too." He watched her leave, waiting to feel something: regret, longing, doubt. Nothing came. just the quiet satisfaction of a well-executed decision. That evening, Owen sat on his balcony with Pepper curled in his lap, watching the city lights flicker on as dusk settled. His phone buzzed. Priya, asking if he wanted to join a group hike that weekend. Maya, sending photos of her new apartment. His mom, checking if he'd remembered to renew his car registration. Life, in its ordinary complexity. No drama, no manipulation, no emotional minefields to navigate. Just straightforward human connection with people who valued honesty as much as he did. Pepper purred, a steady rumble against Owen's chest. "We're good," Owen told the cat. "We're actually really good." Pepper, unimpressed by philosophy, demanded dinner. Owen stood, carrying the cat inside, thinking about the presentation he'd deliver next month, the new project he'd start Monday, the hiking trip awaiting that weekend. Thinking about how sometimes the most loving thing you could do for yourself and the other person was recognize when the foundation was unsound and walk away before the whole structure collapsed. He'd architected his life carefully. Clean code, clear boundaries, honest connections. One failed relationship didn't change the underlying framework. It had simply revealed the importance of structural integrity in all things, professional, personal, emotional. In his kitchen, Pepper's dinner bowl clinked against the floor. Owen smiled, measured out the precise amount of food, and set it down. Somewhere in the city, Vanessa was presumably continuing her own journey, working through patterns with her therapist, living her life. And Owen was here, in his carefully constructed space, content with the silence that followed a difficult but necessary decision. The rain had stopped. Through his window, Portland gleamed wet and renewed. Tomorrow, he'd work on the new security protocol. But tonight, he'd simply exist. No calculations, no analysis, just being. Pepper, having demolished his dinner in approximately 45 seconds, jumped onto the couch and stared expectantly at Owen. "Yes, I see you," Owen said. "No, you're not getting second dinner." The cat, unswayed by logic, continued staring. Some battles, Owen reflected, you simply couldn't win with reason alone. But the ones that mattered, those required nothing more than clarity, discipline, and the courage to trust your own perception of reality. Owen settled onto the couch. Pepper, after a moment of pointed judgment, curled up beside him. Outside, the city hummed its electric lullaby. Inside, everything was exactly as it should be.
Thanks for listening.